Hey, Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps with Title Sports Network, and I'm joined now with the one and only Eddie Hearn. Eddie, it's good to see you here in Las Vegas. Gotta ask you, is it a little weird sitting on the opposing side of Canelo Alvarez on stage just a few moments ago?
I did it for many years. I mean, first up...
Yeah, but you guys are like bros now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I respect him a lot. I like him as a person. But, you know, business is business, as it is for him. You know, and I want Edgar Berlanga to win on Saturday. We know the task is significant, but I love what I'm seeing for Edgar. He's a real fighter. He's fresh as a daisy, and he's fighting a seasoned legend. But yeah, I've been, you know, Daniel Jacobs, Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, John Ryder. That's 5. It's probably more, you know, and it's a really difficult task to beat this guy. And, you know, when you're in the other corner, you do hope that he's getting on a little bit, or he's a little bit war-torn, or maybe he's not as motivated as he was, or camp's not gone that great. Do you know what I mean? Because you need a little bit of luck against a legend. But from our side, shape of his life, prime of his life, 0 miles on the clock, big puncher, and ready to roll the dice, Edgar Berlanga. You know, and that's, you've got to try and win this fight. You know, too many people get in there and go, oh, it's Canelo Alvarez. Oh, yeah. Get through the rounds. Oh, I lost on points. Oh, well done, Canelo. Thank you for the opportunity. No, you've got to try and knock him out. And then people say, yeah, but he's never been stopped. He's never been down. Yeah, but sometimes as you reach the back stages of your career, things change. Yeah. But so it's a tough task, but he's up for it.
Now, it could just be from my personal observation. I've not quite seen Edgar Berlanga this hype before, leading up to any of his fights. Do you feel, though, that a bit of that is a little dangerous when you're going into a fight a little on the emotional side?
Yeah, he's not really emotional. He's just so excited. You know, I think that when you're a young fighter and you've watched those MGM Grand Arrivals your whole life, and then you're in it all of a sudden, and you're like, but he's a bit of a showman. You know, like the mask, you know, the bling. He wants to be a superstar.
Yeah, boxing needs that too.
Yeah,
we need
that. You know, he's saying, yeah, I'm going to be a superstar because I'm doing all this, and on Saturday I'm going to prove it. So I like that. I want him to go in there with no fear. Be smart, but no fear, and he won't have fear. He respects Canelo immensely as a fighter, but he's not scared. You know, he knows he's going to have to stand and take chances, but that's dangerous in itself. But it will give you a great fight, and I really think you're going to see a great fight on Saturday.
Obviously, when you're one of the greats, you're going to be subjected to a lot of criticism. Canelo Alvarez is under the... You too. Canelo Alvarez has been... Or there's a lot of people saying, like, oh, he's at the tail end of his career. He doesn't look the same. People were saying that we saw that against Jaime Munguia, which I have to disagree. But nonetheless, people are saying it. What are your thoughts on people saying that he's kind of on the way out the door?
I thought he looked good against Munguia. You know, I think that one thing that Canelo doesn't do is overexert himself in fights. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if he, like against Munguia, would an old or young Canelo have stepped on the gas and tried to force the stoppage? Sometimes he lets people back in a fight. John Ryder was a good example. You know, was dominating that fight. All of a sudden, John came back in the fight and probably won 3 of the last 5 rounds. Like, I think that maybe the killer instinct from Canelo Alvarez has gone a little bit. So sometimes he might let you off the hook, not because he's trying to string the fight out, but just because he's probably thinking, I don't want to force the pace, or I don't want to take any chances. His body has had a huge amount of wear and tear, huge amount. You know, we know the wrist injury, we know his knees. You know, how many fights has he had? I mean, like, you know, tens and tens of fights. And he's not as fresh as he was. It's impossible. So I think that sometimes that's in his mind. And if you can make him fight and you can make the body break down, it gives you a great shot in the fight. But that's dangerous because you're going to stand in the firing line. And as you saw against Munguia, when Munguia started to force the fight, he got countered and he got dropped and he got hurt. And Canelo's very smart. He's a fantastic counterpuncher, and he'll want Berlanga to be aggressive in the fight. So you've got to be smart with it. This
fight has received a lot of criticism, obviously because a lot of people want to see Canelo fight David Benavidez. The most vocal of them all, I have to say, is coming from Oscar De La Hoya. What do you make of the things he's been saying online, and also saying that he plans to go to the UFC fight this weekend? And Dana White was like, I don't know who he's getting a ticket from because it ain't me, but he's obviously doing it to get back at Canelo.
Oscar's a weird guy, really weird. Like, I don't know. He needs to cleanse his soul, because on one hand he's saying how happy he is and all this, and inside it's eating him up so bad. This whole, you've got to let it go, because why are you using your platform to consistently and continuously talk about Canelo Alvarez and try and diminish the achievements or the shows of this guy who is a legend of the sport? Talk about your own fighters on that platform. Zepeda, Zurdo Ramirez, Munguia left him. Ramirez, whoever, it's really weird. I just think you've got to sort of cleanse yourself and let it go. That relationship was horrible. They can't stand each other. But you don't have to keep going on about it. It's just very strange. And I think boxing's a bit strange, to be honest with you. This whole thing about UFC and fucking so what? There's two big events. They're different sports, number one. Number two, the audiences are different. Yeah, there is crossover. But you get people going onto a seat map and counting the seats and saying, they've only sold 14,624 seats. Mate, get a life. Go and have a beer or go out for a bite to eat or something. Do you know what I mean? Just the UFC event at the Sphere is going to be fantastic, right? Dana White, great promoter, UFC, incredible product. This is going to be a great fight. Amazing event, great atmosphere. Just chill out and enjoy it. And I hate the bitterness of actually having the thought to, this, what is it he does? Clap back Thursdays or something. Right, what we're going to do. And it's all scripted, he reads it off a thing. So someone actually writes that. I'm gonna look, let's get, the negativity and the anger of saying, let's talk about Canelo again. Let's fucking get. It's you've got to let that go, because that's really poisonous and toxic. Oscar's such a legend of the sport. Everything that he's achieved doesn't need to do that. But each to their own. But weird, very weird. Just let it go.
Fair enough. It seems like you and Leonard Ellerby let it go. Kind of walked right into that one. What was that like?
Yeah,
because I know for the most part, we all play a bit into that, don't we? Because we interview each.
Yeah, but there's nothing to, from my point of view, there's nothing to let go. I've never really slated. Leonard said when he sees me, he's gonna punch me on sight. He's gonna stomp me out. I never really took anything like that seriously, because I don't believe that's going to happen. And when you meet me, I think you'll get on pretty well with me. But sometimes you read the one-liners, you read the little bit of clickbait without watching an interview. And he said a lot of things, and they don't want me here. Do you know what I'm saying? Why would you want me at Britain? I said in the interview yesterday, I said to my Dad, if you were promoting and I was around as your competitor, what would you think? He'd go, fuck, I'd want to smash you so hard in the face. Do you know what I mean? And that's probably what I do. I probably rub people up the wrong way.
Do you feel like the British banter rubs differently
really
here?
Bad, yeah. We might have a bit of banter where I'll say, say I throw in that I'm going to be the next James Bond, right? Obviously, I know I could be, but that is a little bit of banter. But for them, they're actually watching it going, have you seen this? Hearn thinks he could be the next James Bond. It's mate, I'm joking. Just relax. And when I sung the song, Ain't No Sunshine When Tank's Gone and all that kind of stuff, it's only a little bit of fun. And I think it rubs people up the wrong way, but I would probably find myself annoying. I think if I was Leonard Ellerby, I wouldn't like Eddie Hearn. Why would you? But I'm here to ruffle feathers. I'm here to be disruptive. I'm here to try and win. And try and just create a bit of drama and excitement for fans. And otherwise it's boring. It's you've got some bloke up there going, so Canelo, tell me about how you're feeling for this fight Saturday. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get in there. You've got to.
But one thing I will say, Ed, is that over all the years that I've known you, and I don't know if 13 years or so odd years, you've never changed.
No, but
you've always given. This is just who you've been the whole time.
As you get a little bit older as well, you care less, and you don't really. It's easier to tell the truth because you don't want to remember a lie. You can't remember a lie because you get older. So I think that you become more comfortable in yourself. And I don't really get I've had years and years of abuse and stick from people online, talking shit, making stuff up, like trying to like tell people this and put you out the game, and you know, and it's like in the end you become emotionless. So that's really what I am. It's a bit sad in a way, but that's what boxing does to you. No, but you become not emotionless as in like, oh, I don't care what people think. Just like the game makes you a little bit emotionless.
Oh, yeah.
The game for me, when I've got a young fighter or a fighter that I've got a great relationship with, winning a world title or changing their life, that will never change in terms of the way I feel. But like the day-to-day stuff of a fighter pulling out injured, or you know, on the day before someone misses weight and the fight's off, you know, like in the past, when I say emotionless, it goes from like, oh my God, I can't believe it, to this fucking game.
You know what I say? It's water off a duck's ass.
It is, and like now, you know, when you read stuff and on, you know, it's not even, it doesn't even, like you, I would always say, oh, it doesn't bother me, but of course, after a while, like it does a little bit. I think the Conor Benn thing was a big part of that, do you know what I mean? Where it's really like a year, I mean, it's still going, but it's 2 years now since that test. And I think that 3 or 6 months was under a huge amount of fire. And I think after that, nothing really can seem as bad anymore, do you know what I mean? And you just, like I said, just become a little bit like, oh well.
Oh well, right.
It's a nice way to be, really.
No, it is. I'm there too.
Yeah, but you mustn't lose it in your, it mustn't translate to your other life.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Where you just don't care about anything anymore, and
right.
you know, but.
No, but when you do live in an environment where you are criticized for being in front of the camera, I can completely relate.
Really,
I don't care anymore either.
Boxing is a really horrible, toxic world, like online and stuff like that. It's like that's what I said about the UFC and the boxing. You know how madder people are getting. You know, like the whole like got like PBC fans and Matchroom. I love that, by the way, the loyalty that fans have to me. But it's like it's all day, every day, and you look at these people and go like, what fucking hell, like. People literally like counting seats on seat maps to say that a show hasn't sold.
That's not true.
I know, yeah. No, I've been on this other site and look, there's this section's open, and it's like, wow, you know. But I like the passion. I do like the passion. It's a strange world.
Right. Well, before I let you go, because I know you're getting a line behind us, I got to ask about Shakur Stevenson. What can we expect there? What's going on there?
In what way?
Shakur.
What do you mean?
What's next for Shakur?
Oh, right, yeah. Well, obviously there's Riyadh season, and then there's Zepeda, and then hopefully Tank.
When can we expect the Zepeda fight?
February.
In February.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we look to make the Zepeda fight in February, and then obviously that's our agreement with him is those 2 fights, and then after that we'll try and make the Tank fight. So I said to Leonard Ellaby last night, like Tank's I think amazing. But I think he's going to struggle with dance partners after a while. You know, they're talking about him fighting Rayo, which is a good fight, but I don't think that's going to happen in November. I'm really curious to see who he actually fights in November. But after that, like, what are the mega fights for Gervonta Davis? Like, unless he moves up to 140 and fights the bigger guys, who, by the way, will probably be moving to 147, Shakur's the big fight for him. And I think that's one of the best fights in the sport.
All right, Ed, thank you so much. I will see you. Hopefully we can catch up later this week.
Yeah, you coming to Wembley next week?
I will be there.
Good stuff.
All right. Thank you for your time. Bye, fans.